What's up, everybody? Another kitchen countertop unpackaging. And I also want to talk about the Lieb Regular by Kizer. There we go, it's focused. But first, we'll open this. This is one more item to add to the list of things that I'm using to make EDC items that I'm not really gonna go into detail on what the items are, but check this material out. That is beautiful. I might actually try to make a scale for myself out of this. My only problem is that the only thing I really have is a drill and a Dremel to do any work. So it's a lot more work for me than, say, Nathan at Nathan's Knives, the man behind the amazing, what would you call customizations. That he has done quite a few for me, actually. But yeah, this is a really cool material. It's again like a resin. It's not quite G10 type. I guess it could feel like G10, but it's just more like a resin. And it's got this side and this side. I'm not sure which. I think I like this side more. It almost looks like petrified wood to me. It just has like a heavier yellow color instead of like the petrified wood yellow color, if that makes any sense at all. But I also wanted to talk about this and this today. These two bad boys. Let me tell you, this has been one of my favorite small knives for so long. I've always wanted it to become a button lock knife, and oh my god, they did it. And they did it so well. This is the medium, or M. It's the Kizer Lieb M. They're both in, well, this is an N690. This is in 154 cm. Both really good budget steels. They both have tremendous action. This has such a great snappy detent. This one does as well. It's got a little bit more of a light detent, I guess for the purposes of button lock action, but it still works very nicely. The thing has some of the most beautiful micarta I've ever seen. The contouring, or I mean slight contouring, I guess, because it's still a little flat, just like the original. But they stayed true to the design, and they kept the liners proud, and I've always liked that shadow box effect. So I really enjoy both of these by Kizer. Stop, kitty. She only does this when I'm doing a video. Stop it. So yeah, they stayed true to the design, and I love that. Especially, I'm a big fan of Azo. I think Azo is an in-house designer for Kizer, if I'm correct. If not, leave a comment below letting me know I'm not correct. But I believe he is an in-house designer for Kizer. They both have really great ergos. Now, if you have larger hands, especially, we'll say people like Grumpy and Stevie and Maddie from Mattisfaction, I think that the regular Lieb may be more of a 2.5 finger knife for them, because it's a 3-finger knife for me. I think that you guys would probably love this. If you love the aesthetics, you'll love this knife, because this is a 4-finger knife for me. The only thing I think this knife is missing on this size is a choil. I think it would have been great for them to carry out the back of this flipper into the blade a little bit for a choil, but I think it still works just the way it is, and it's a beautiful design. So I guess I can see why they didn't want to mess with the aesthetics, because it could possibly just make it a completely different knife, I mean, if they took this one and threw a choil in there, they could call it something else if they wanted to. I've seen millions of knives that look exactly the same with one tiny little difference, and they call it a whole new knife. So, and not just by Kizer, I mean by many different makers. So, this one has a nice little like cutout right here for the access to the liner, which I think is perfect on this little knife. It's absolutely perfect for that. You can completely see there's 100% clearance for that liner, and it's really easy to disengage that lock too. So this one has zero button lock whatsoever. It is done so well. The only difference is it doesn't have that cutout, which I think creates just a little more comfort for that first finger, especially since there's not a choil on this one. So it does still have a little bit of a cutout there, but I mean, I feel like if they still kept that wide angle right there, it would just make it that more comfortable, since they can't really put a choil in here because the blade is relatively small. It's well under 3 inches. I think it's like 2.7 maybe, maybe even not even that close. But it's, I think that if they just a little tiny bit more clearance right there, I don't know. I'm totally nitpicking. I know I am. It's just, this knife is so perfect that I'm trying to find things wrong with it. And it's just so fantastic. I can't find anything wrong with it. I mean, they even threw in a reverse clip spot on this one, which they did not have. So they fixed one of the things, if you ask me, they fixed one of the things that was wrong with it. I mean, this was already perfect for a right-handed person, but then they made it way easier for a left-handed person to carry it by throwing that in there. And, you know, they milled it into the scale. But not only that, they do it right, and they have the screws go all the way through the liner. That way it's not just, mounted to the micarta, and then what's going to happen over time is it's essentially cloth, and it's going to break loose. So it's going to create more space in there for the screws, making it eventually the pocket clip will fail. Just because they didn't put in, like Chicago style screws, or, stainless steel inserts for the screws to go into, or whatever the case may be. They did it right. I really enjoy this knife a lot. And being Kizer week, I'm not so sure you're going to see many other Kizers on me this week, but I love this thing so much. I'll just have to carry another Kizer with it. I try not to carry two of the same maker in my pockets, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So you have those two. I think these were a complete success, both of them. They're amazing knives. I love them. I recommend them 100%. I love both steels. They both take a wicked sharp edge. They both become super thin behind the edge. Great geometry, full flat grinds on both of them. They both have really decent plunge grinds. As you can see, this one ends here. So you have tons of meat. There's a lot of meat there. So if you use your knives heavily, you'll be fine, I think, for a good amount of time. This one isn't a big old hard use knife or anything, but there's still plenty of meat there for if you do use your smaller knives for harder use. This is a harder use small knife. I would consider it that. It's a incredibly rigid small knife. So the stainless steel liners just give it that extra oomph when it comes to rigidity. So it's a great little knife. It really is. So if you were always attracted to the Lieb, but always thought that's way too small for my liking, I would get the Lieb M button lock. This thing is fantastic. that's another thing. I always thought it would have been a great knife if they made it just a little bit bigger. So I think they kind of knocked out two birds with one stone, that whole saying, by creating this design. And these scales are fantastic, comfortable as all get out. They're grippy, and if you, all the dirt that you use this in, if your hands are dirty a lot when you use your knives, you don't typically want to pick up a knife with white G10 handles because it's going to look disgusting very quickly. This, on the other hand, is just going to look better, I think, you know. So if you've got dirty hands, dirty large hands, and you need a knife that's definitely going to be there to grip and be comfortable, this thing is it's a mini monster. It's not a huge knife, but I guess the M could stand for mini monster. I don't know. I guess it would be the M&M then, but we don't want that. Now, do we? The only thing I think, my one other nitpick is you can feel the deep carry pocket clip, but it's not too bad. It's really not. Here, I'm gonna squeeze it really hard and see if it makes an imprint in my hand. Not really. It does a little, but not really. It's not sharp, so everything's nicely chamfered, and I really enjoy, like I said, the shadow boxing that they did. Especially, you could see it on this a little bit more, just because it's G10 instead of micarta. I really enjoy this a lot. I love the look. I love the blade shape. I love the steel. It's just a great budget. So if you guys are looking to pick one up and you've been waiting all this time, well, now's your chance to get something a little bit bigger with a button lock, so it's more modern, and for bigger hands. So there you go. I just wanted to do that little comparison there. I hope you made it to the end. I'll see you soon. I forgot to bring up one thing that I also believe they improved greatly upon. So with the old one, the original Lieb, there's no jimping whatsoever on the spine, as you can see. This one, there is not a shortage whatsoever. It is a little more than halfway past the center of the spine. I just think they did so well with this thing, you guys. My thumb, the placement is perfect. It still has jimping. It's just great. This thing is just fantastic. I think everybody should get one. If you think that this is a good looking knife, get one. It's amazing. Love it. So, just that one little thing I wanted to add. I did not want to forget that improvement, major improvement. Besides making it lefty friendly, they put the tremendous amount of jimping on the spine. It's really just a great knife, especially for EDC and fidgety. All right, anyway, you guys, see you soon.